profit margins in bulk trading are already razor thin. Now with a 34% tariff, it's like getting knocked to the ground.
No, you're fucked.
He said the only thing he can do for now is wait. His backup plan is to ship through third-party warehouses in other countries. That's the only way forward.
And that's smart, but you know Trump, like, because the thing is, that's why he got rid of that Penguin Island shit. It's because he probably knows about this exploit, and if he doesn't, they're going to figure this shit out, right? 34%, now it's 145. Well, I think it's probably a 34% in a different way, right? I mean, for like what the total cost of goods are or something like that. So yeah, this is obviously a loophole that will be closed.
On April 7th, the owner of a clothing factory posted a video saying the entire foreign trade apparel industry in China is filled with anxiety.
Everyone doing foreign trade now is nervous. A 50% tariff is just scary. Who's going to place orders under these conditions?
Nobody. That's why it's fucked up. Right? And again, like if they're the ones trying to sell all their stuff and they're stuck holding all of this stuff, what are they going to do with the stuff? That's a big problem.
Sure, some clothing businesses are still busy, but it's hard to make money anymore. US orders only make up part of our business, but there are so many clothing factories in China. If we all turn to Europe and there's no US orders, then think about it. Won't competition at home become even worse? Domestic sales are also weak this year. People just don't have money to spend, so how can this market possibly improve?
This is the issue, is that nobody spends money on useless bullshit like Americans do. We are the pinnacle of spending money on useless, stupid bullshit. So if China can't take advantage of that, it's hard for them to go somewhere else. And you know what's really funny? You want to know one of the other really big countries that spends a ton of money on useless, stupid bullshit? China.
You need to stop that vehicle in
So
its tracks.
it's like the only other place they can go, that's them.
Much better.
Yeah, because now they have a bunch of money, so they're buying a bunch of bullshit too.
On April 2nd, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a new round of global-based tariffs, raising rates on dozens of countries. At the time of the announcement, the actual tariff rate for China stood at 34%.
在现行适用关税税率基础上，加征34%关税。
In response, the Chinese Communist Party announced on April 4th that it would impose a matching 34% tariff on all goods imported in the U.S. Trump then warned that
you can see how this is asymmetrical, right? Because like obviously like we import way more than they do from us.
he may raise tariffs on China by another 50%. The CCP responded by saying it's ready to fight to the end. While the Chinese government is showing a tough stance, many businesses in China are already feeling the pain.
See, this is not like, this is I think where the problem is gonna lie. Is that like, we all watched, boys, like we watched that shit from Speed, right? Like China was looking really nice. Do you think they want to go back to how it was? Fuck no. Abso-fucking-lutely not.
I'm opening a portal.
On April 7th, a TikToker filmed a clothing factory that had shut down and said the clothing industry is in serious trouble. All the machines in his factory are about to stop. He said this year...
This is another point with this, is that like a lot of this automation and like this technology, it's going to go automation probably in 20 years at the highest. So a lot of these machines and a lot of these factories, I mean, you're building a castle on sand.
...is going to be incredibly tough. That same day, another TikToker posted a similar scene, workers moving goods around inside a clothing factory. He wrote that as soon as the U.S. swung its tariff hammer, the impact finally hit the apparel industry.
See, this is the thing, right, is like, I wish more people would see this, because now, like, every single one of these, right, like, each one of these is like, let's say $6. Well, that's a box, and it's got $1,000 in it. And there's a lot of those boxes. That's bad. This is propaganda, not gonna lie. It's propaganda. Is it really propaganda to see that, like, I mean, really, is it unfathomable that a lot of companies in China are now having problems selling things? Fucking obviously they're having problems selling things. It's obvious. Duh. And it's also like whether something is propaganda or not, you're attacking the messenger and not the message.
Stop them in their tracks.
Even if something is propaganda, it can stand on its own merit or not, which is really what should matter.
Judge!
His factory originally had orders scheduled through the end of July, but now over 6,000 down jackets have been put on hold, and their ready-to-ship products are piling up in the warehouse. He said both offline and online sales are struggling this year. Even live stream selling isn't working anymore. With sluggish consumer demand and weak domestic sales, the foreign trade slowdown is pushing more exporters.
It's crazy, bro. Like, look at it. Just a minute. I'm gonna go back to that.
Fantastic! Ha ha!
A nice deal.
Bro, what's so funny about this is that they're doing the exact same thing with this that they did with selling gold and WoW. Where it's like, okay, if we can get one account making like 1,000 gold a day, let's get 1,000 gold accounts, and then that way we make 1,000,000 gold a day. And then they totally flood the fucking market, massively drive the price of gold down. Nobody can fucking farm anything for any sort of real value. Everybody's buying gold now, and they're doing this. They're doing the exact same thing with this.
There's still a chance to
More
stop
demand and weak domestic sales, the foreign trade slowdown is pushing more exporters into the domestic market, creating even more excess production. He said this year's apparel industry is like a pressure cooker that could blow at any moment. This isn't just panic, it's worse during a pandemic. Many clothing business owners may lose everything they've built over a lifetime.
People seeing anybody seeing potential war with China.
Another TikToker showed the current situation at his factory. Because of the tariff hike, orders have been delayed or canceled. Now his packaging and printing factory doesn't even have boxes to make. All he can do now.
They don't even have boxes to put the shit that they can't sell in? That's pretty bad. Yeah, that's really fucking bad. God damn.
Is clean the factory. A TikToker shared a video saying that after the U.S. increased tariffs, the impact on China's foreign trade is obvious. He mentioned that when he flies, there are hardly any Westerners on the plane, mostly people from Africa. Also, when entering the U.S., Chinese people face especially strict security checks.
I'm at Guangzhou Baiyun Airport right now, and the flight is about to take off. This tariff increase is really affecting China. If you look around, you can see there are almost no white faces here, mostly African brothers. This shows how tough the foreign trade situation is right now. When I went through customs, they saw my yellow skin and Chinese passport and gave me a hard time. They asked about every little detail, why I'm here, who I'm visiting, where I'm staying, how long I'll be, and what business I'm doing. Traveling abroad is already hard, and now people like me in foreign trade have to
I think that's weird, by the way. Yeah, it's like basically a profile.
face Trump's 54% tariff hike and random checks. On April 6th, a female owner of a laser cutting factory, Liu Ting, posted a video saying that manufacturing in China is going to get even harder, and she plans to sell off her 30,000-watt equipment.
是的，你们没有听错，我可能要把去年4月份买的大幅时装要给吃掉了。
Yes, you heard me right. I might have to sell the laser equipment I bought last April. I don't need to explain. You could probably guess why. The economic environment is bad, and the trade war has already started. Soon, all manufacturing businesses, especially small ones, will face bankruptcy. This is not an exaggeration. It's the reality.
That's crazy.
1. Time to switch
Is Tony
things up,
okay? I mean,
including
people
which
ask a
side
lot
you're
about
on.
that in general. In my opinion,
No timeline
in my opinion, I think that really
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
this is, and maybe this is wishful thinking, but I think that we'll probably have at least like a resolution to this in a couple of weeks, at the latest. I do. I think that we'll have some form of resolution where there's at least a discussion of what's going to happen. Most definitely, I maybe a month. I would be shocked if this went on for more than a month.
We can no longer
I would,
hide from
because
the
like again,
dangers
I mean, the
that
Chinese
lie
government, I
down
mean,
our
like they're totalitarian and very powerful, but at the end of the day, if you completely lose the people and everybody
30
there
seconds
hates
before
you,
you attack.
this is
Get
not
ready.
good for them. They don't want that to happen.
Every time I
Even if they think that they can control it, they do not want that to happen.
everything will be all right.
She also said that starting this month, all manufacturing businesses in China will face an unprecedented winter. More and more companies will go bankrupt, lay off workers, and downsize. Many manufacturing owners will end up with insufficient funds and will not survive. Cases in banks, law firms, and courts will pile up. The TikToker estimates that all manufacturing business owners are currently in an anxious, confused, and helpless state.
There's a lot of other, I mean, and also keep in mind that like what she's saying about this in China, there are people in the United States that feel the same way because part of their supply chain comes from China. So it's like, this isn't something that's like, you know, like one-dimensionally affecting people over there. It affects us over here too.
Particularly for factories that relied on foreign trade orders, the shrinking foreign demand and declining domestic demand are making it difficult. Many small business owners can't sleep because of worries and fear. They're afraid all the years of hard work will go to waste. They fear they won't be able to pay employee wages or cover rent and utilities. The TikToker revealed that with electricity costs for her equipment already reaching her limit, she has decided to sell her 30,000-watt laser equipment. On April 8th, a TikToker from Zhejiang shared a video saying that she suddenly realized the U.S. tariff increase has also severely impacted non-exporting manufacturers.
Because you get different stuff from different countries, right? So like even if you're not exporting the final product, it doesn't mean you're not importing or exporting some piece of the process of the product. That's the thing.
How big of an impact has the tariff increase had on local factories in Zhejiang? I run a small factory and don't deal with foreign trade, so I'm not sure how much it would affect me. But I've noticed that my upstream suppliers who export raw materials haven't received any orders for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. There's like a whole supply chain of it.
Not even one container has shipped out. When they can't get orders, they try to switch to domestic sales. Now people at their factories are still working non-stop, running around to try to make domestic sales. So when they get involved in the domestic market, doesn't that just drag the domestic factories into it too? Everyone.
It does, and if they try to sell the products domestically, they're going to have to sell them at a lower rate. I mean, of course. I mean, there's a reason why they're shipping them across the fucking world to the United States so they can make more money. Yeah, absolutely. It's much lower? Yeah, exactly. Supply and demand? Yeah, buying up Chinese business infrastructure must be booming. Maybe. I don't know if it's going to happen. Why should we care about these Chinese bills when Americans can't pay their own bills? Well, what I'm saying is that, like, the effects of these tariffs will... I think that they will I think that they will negatively affect China more than they negatively affect us. Because they're the ones that are selling. Like, it will negatively affect the U.S., but I think that it will do it more to China. And that's not doesn't mean you should do it, right? I mean, like, as I said, I really hope they resolve this. Because, like, I feel like this entire issue, I think it's just, it's a bullshit issue in a big way, right? Because you have, you know, we've got a good thing going here, right? Like, we've got a lot of, everything's going really well. Our economy is doing really well. China's economy is doing really well. Everything's fucking fine. So just stop stealing shit and make a few concessions and everything can move on. If that's unreasonable, then I feel like we need to have a conversation about this.
It's getting caught in the spiral, and in the end, we'll all collapse together. The impact is really huge, and some people probably haven't realized it yet. Whether it's the impact on the foreign trade or on our factories that don't deal with foreign trade, it's all very significant. On April 7th, a TikToker from Foshan visited a newly built factory district and recorded footage of the vacant and neglected factory buildings.
He said, look at these factories that were just built last year.
I am ready to put
Now
on a
I can't
show.
even find a single person. There are no cars or people on the road. Some of these factories are single story and others have multiple floors.
It's like a fucking economic rap. Really? Like, I mean, for this to happen that fast? Holy shit. They're committing actual slavery beyond their own Chinese workers. They pretty much run the entire bottom line of the cobalt pipeline, which is legit actual slavery.
Be removed so easily.
Yeah, and the thing is that like, you know, we could moralize about how, like, and I hear a lot of people, in general, I think that the consensus is that slavery is kind of bad, right? But the main issue also is that if one group is using slavery and the other group isn't using slavery, well, you think about it in Schedule 1, for example. If I didn't have to pay the chemists and the botanists any money, I probably would have already bought the house at the docks. Really? You think about how much of an advantage that is, you don't have to pay people
You are
money.
under my protection.
That's huge. I'd be way farther along.
The landlords spent nearly $1 billion to build these. Just a few years ago, these beautiful buildings were all leased out by middlemen. You had to wait in line to rent a factory space. But now, there isn't a single customer coming to view the space. The new factory buildings behind me haven't even been renovated yet because the landlords are afraid of spending money if no one rents them.
Do you think just to get a hand of the CCP would go in to invade Taiwan to save face? I think that every country is, like, there's a lot of international trade that happens. So if they tried to do something militarily, I think that would damage their relations with other partners as well. Because, like, right now, they can probably still sell a lot of their products to other countries besides America. And it's not like they only export to America, although America is a big part of their exports. But if they're, like, embroiled in a war and, you know, they lose the, like, international support, and then other countries don't want to trade with them either, like, kind of like what's happened with Russia, this will be very bad for them. And so, like, I think ego only goes so far.
With the manufacturing industry in decline, every industry is struggling.
He recalled that some Chinese companies moved to Southeast Asia to avoid the US-China trade war a few years ago. Now, this new wave of tariffs is a heavy blow to those companies because some countries have even higher tariffs than China.
See, yeah, because Trump knew this shit was going to happen.
You can't expect to win them all.
That's why he put the tariffs on the Penguin Islands, too. It's like, if you tariff China, but you don't tariff the country right next to China, they're just going to move all the stuff over to that country and then just run it through that country instead of China. Fucking obviously. I mean, this isn't even like a 5-head idea. It's just like, yeah, of course they're going to do this. And why does Trump know that? Probably because he did it. He's probably done things that are very similar to that himself.
He questioned where these companies should go next: stay in Southeast Asia, move back to China, or shift to Africa.
Why do you support IP rights? Don't you think they're monopolized by giant corporations? I do think that IP rights are something that probably should be reevaluated, but I think that's something that we should choose to do ourselves rather than have that agency taken away from us by China. Bro, what is she doing?
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not judging.
The higher the pressure.
Guys.
Be wary. No timeline exists.
I got
to this universe.